Vancouver is the only place in Canada where you can starve to death before you freeze to death. During the 1930s, this joke masked a bitter truth. Canada was in the grasp of the Great Depression, and jobs, housing, and hope were in extremely short supply. The 1930s would test local governments around the province as communities faced growing rates of unemployment, ever-shrinking tax bases, and a lack of unified support from either the provincial or federal governments. The population of BC exploded during the 1930s as it grew from the smallest to the largest western province, as the Dust Bowl forced more than 150,000 farmers in the prairies off their lands. Communities across BC quickly became filled with shanty towns, collecting workers who had traveled west looking for work. But the prosperity of the 1920s was gone. By 1934, the average wage in the province dropped by half, and unemployment skyrocketed to 28%, the highest in Canada. While provincial and federal governments debated how best to respond to the Great Depression, local governments were at the front line, being forced to the brink of insolvency to help their communities survive. The district municipality of Matsqui, now part of the city of Abbotsford, was forced to increase its annual welfare budget from $800 in the 1920s to more than $58,000 in 1936, more than half of its total annual municipal budget. Its relief efforts nearly drove the municipality to bankruptcy, with its Reeve saying in 1935, "I don't know how we are going to get through. We cannot weather the storm." Prince Rupert, Burnaby, Merritt, and both the city and district of North Vancouver were forced to declare bankruptcy during the Depression. In 1932, the provincial government assumed direct control of the city of Burnaby, taking over the city's financial duties and issuing welfare payments to the community's unemployed. Burnaby would not have an elected council again until 1942. In spite of all this, the LGMA continued to find new ways to support the local government profession. The association welcomed its first female member in 1931, a Miss Marjorie Gertrude Kilby Stewart, clerk of the Village of Hope, herself the daughter of a local government professional. In 1937, the LGMA helped to amend the Municipal Act, creating an appeal board for the appointment of officials. This was a critical step in the growing of the profession, as it officially recognized local government's workers as skilled professionals, and it protected them from wrongful dismissal. In 1939, the LGMA officially became an independent organization, signaling that its membership had grown, both in numbers and in professional confidence. While the interventions of federal, provincial, and local governments in the latter half of the 1930s began to lessen the blow of the Depression for British Columbians, it would take an event even more calamitous than the crash of 1929 to end the Depression. It would take a Second World War. Join us for our next episode, 1939 to 1949, The War, Planning for Peace.